This time it is the first of 3 junior road tax races. This time there will be 11 minutes plus an additional lap of racing action. Here is your grid. On pole position representing Denmark, his RS Competitions Magnus Pedersen in the 2:47, and we'll have Germany's Nikita Genzer in the 2:26 alongside. Then it is Valentin Klus in the 2:01 and Farin Mega in the 2:45. That's row 2. Kian Agasade and Maurice Schmeis in the 2:62 and the 2:10 respectively. That's row 3. Mikkel Pedersen from Denmark in the 2:52. We'll have Neville Fischer in the 2:36 alongside. Rafael Renhofer and Rafael Balzer in the 2:33 and the 2:17 complete the top 10. Louis Jacobs and Yanni Stiak in the 2:28 and the 2:38. That is row 6. Ahead of Corbin Hillebrands, Din Jurich, Leon Art and Richard Thomas, rounding out the 16 strong that will go into competition. Now on to the formation lap. And with an increase of tempo comes an increase of unpredictability. So it will be down to Magnus Pedersen and Nikita Genzer to control the rolling start formation. Red lights now ignited on the starting gantry for the first of their 3 races today. Track is still very greasy, but there are some slight, if I can call them that, very, very slight patches of dry tarmac starting to appear as the rain has not, well, there is a wind pickup here at Muelsen. So top 10 is Magnus Pedersen, Nikita Genzer, Valentin Klus, Farin Mega, Kian Agasade, Maurice Schmeis, Mikkel Pedersen, Neville Fischer, Rafael Renhofer and Rafael Balzer. So 11 minutes plus 1 lap. They now head towards the penultimate corner, the first of 2 double rights, which will then put them onto the start-finish straight. 8 rows, 16 drivers, 11 minutes plus an additional lap. They come round the final corner. They now will split into the 2 tram lines. Revs rise, accelerators hit the floor, lights are out, we're racing. And it is an absolute swarm heading down, and it's nearly 3 abreast at some point going down towards turn 2 for the first time. But at the moment, looks like Magnus Pedersen has kept the lead for the minute as drivers scrabbling for traction. Or has there been a change for the lead? Oh, it's definitely a side-by-side, but nearly by. But the top 3, line astern. Then you look, it's 3 wide heading down towards the very next corner as there's been a change for second. As Valentin Klus got up the inside initially of Nikita Genzer, but Genzer got back past Valentin Klus. And now, I think, I'm just keeping my eyes out on who is in 4th position. It looks like Kian Agasade in the 2:62. All drivers still, well, we've had a yellow flag off of turn 5, and we do have a retirement. That looks to be Farin Mega in the 2:45 that has stopped on the infield straightaway, but the top 4 getting very, very close indeed, as now Nikita Genzer will push, goes into the slipstream, trying to battle away with the 2:01 of Valentin Klus for the lead, heading down into turns 2, as Mikkel Pedersen going up the inside, as there's been a switch back and the lead has gone into the hands of Valentin Klus once again, as Nikita Genzer got the run going into the corner. As down for 4th to 7th place, Mikkel Pedersen is battling away with the likes of Maurice Schmeis, Kian Agasade, but the top 3 mounting a breakaway. It's nearly 2 wide coming out of the chicane for 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th, as the 2:62 of Kian Agasade, I think, has just had Neville Fischer go up the inside through into the right-left chicane. But now Valentin Klus in the 2:01 trying to pull away from Nikita Genzer and Magnus Pedersen, who ran out the top 3. And it looks like it is a confirmed retirement, unfortunately, for Farin Mega. Lead is now coming around the final corner. So Genzer leads. Klus leads. Genzer is in second place. Pedersen in third. Maurice Schmeis, Nevio Fischer, Kian Agasade, and now Rafael Henhofer ran out the top 7 positions. As Mikkel Pedersen looks to have dropped down into 15th position. So Valentin Klus last time round had just under 7/10 of a second advantage over Nikita Genzer. Magnus Pedersen still rounds out the top 3. Maurice Schmeis in 4th. Nevio Fischer ahead of Kian Agasade with the pair 5th and 6th respectively, but a little bit further down towards the back end of the order there is a 4-way battle. I think that is just outside or just at the bottom part of the top 10, as there has been a change for position. But hitting the curves a bit too hard, as it looks like Janis Stierk was the one that went a bit too hard onto the curbs. And that allowed Leon Arndt in the 208 to try and close up. Lead is now split by 0.93 of a second between Klus, who still leads, Genzer in second, as the driver's now trying to get the optimum momentum coming out of the final corner onto the main straightaway, as the 217 of Rafael Balza is definitely getting very feisty out there, and is currently in 7th position behind the 262 of Kian Agasade. So 6 minutes and 50 seconds plus an additional lap still to go in the first junior Rotax heat. So Mikkel Pedersen has moved up to 12th position, having dropped all the way down the order. Richard Thomas in the 205 completes the 15 that are still circulating. As now the gap between Valentin Klus and Nikita Genzer has been truncated, as Genzer puts in the fastest lap of the race, a 1 minute 5.811. But then through some of the tighter, more technical corners, Klus seems to have a little bit of advantage of trying to get up the order, as I think there's been a move, and that looks to be possibly Mikkel Pedersen, I believe, or no, that might be Rafael Henhofer that's just got past Rafael Balza for position. That is the battle for 7th. So Henhofer now up ahead as Balza trying to go past and using a wider line to try and get the cutback on Henhofer, and neatly goes up the inside. That's a brilliant move from Rafael Balza, going into the back straightaway before the chicane. So the leaders now across the line. Gap now up to 7.5 of a second. Magnus Pedersen and Maurice Schmeis, 3rd and 4th. Kian Agasade now up past Nevio Fischer for 5th place, as the 252 of Mikkel Pedersen trying to go up the inside of Rafael Henhofer through into turns 2 and 3, the pair side by side. And oh my goodness, that was a save and a half from Rafael Henhofer to keep it on the black stuff. Coming out of turn 3, the back end went sideways twice in rapid succession, but great reflexes there from Rafael Henhofer. So Mikkel Pedersen now closing on Rafael Balza for position, and that is the battle for 7th. As now, well, looks like there's a battle on for the lead. Looks like there's been a drama for Valentin Klus as Nikita Genzer goes up the inside, round the final corner to take the lead. So was there a little bit of a drama there for Valentin Klus? 4 minutes and 18 seconds plus an additional lap still to go. As now Nikita Genzer hits the front and the pair cross the line, 57 thousandths of a second adrift of each other. But a great run by Genzer to take the advantage. Is a little bit further down the order. Rafael Balza has dropped down to 11th position, has been passed by the likes of Janis Stierk, Rafael Henhofer and Leon Arndt. As the 205 of Richard Thomas now crosses the line, looks like Orban Hillebrands might not be taking any further participation in this race. As Kian Agasade will have Neville Fisher closing in, and that'll be for 5th on the road. As there's been, oh, now there was a driver that was just behind Rafael Balsa, and the driver, unfortunately, going through the right-hander, going onto the back part of the circuit, went sideways and went off onto the grass in the runoff area. So top 5 completed by Kian Agasade in the 2:62. Neville Fisher trying to close that gap, which is nearly at 1.2 seconds. But one of the biggest things I have to be completely honest about is that Nikita Genza is not getting away from Valentin Klus. Looks like Klus is closing for the lead of the race, as Genza holds the fastest lap at 1:05.263. As through the chicane onto the back straightaway go the 2 leaders. Nikita Genza being followed by Valentin Klus as they go into the double right-hander, the first of which they're now negotiating. And now around the final corner, they'll complete lap number 8. 2 minutes and 14 on the clock, plus an additional lap still remaining. Genza gets the head down to try and make that kart as slippery as possible going through the air. And as does Valentin Klus. So Corbin Hillebrands and Farin Mega, unfortunately, both retired. Gap between the 2 leaders is just over half a second as Valentin Klus now has Nikita Genza in eye-line sight as they go through into the infield straightaway. And Valentin Klus in the moment is the first driver in Junior Rotax in this race to go sub 1:05 or 1:04.903 that time around. Magnus Pedersen and Morris Schmeis will be battling away over 3rd and 4th respectively as they now go on the approach into the double right-hander. And just the carry of momentum coming out of the final corner is quite captivating, especially when they're closing to the left-hand side wall as far as they dare, as close as they dare. As the gap now between Genza and Klus now up to 0.886 seconds. Less than 60 seconds on the clock to go. So this time around, they'll get the final lap board. And again, in his response, Genza has just gone quicker than anybody, a 1:04.775. So has responded to Valentin Klus's fastest lap by over 1/10 of a second. Magnus Pedersen rounds out the top 3 ahead of Morris Schmeis. Kian Agasade completes the top 5 ahead of Neville Fisher. Mikkel Pedersen, Rafael Renhofer, Janis Stiak, and the 2:17 of Rafael Balza round out the top 10. So this could be very, very close indeed. Oh, that was close. Nikita Genza, I think, crossed the line with about 1 or 2 seconds still to go on the timer. So this is the penultimate lap of the race. But Nikita Genza and Valentin Klus went into the 1:04.6s, with Valentin Klus now retaking the fastest lap honour by 57 thousandths of a second with the 1:04.604. Klus is fast, running out of time to try and capitalise and close up that lead that Nikita Genza currently has. So Leonard now gets past Rafael Balza for 10th place. So the 2:07 on the Kart Republic chassis. Now behind Janis Stiak in the 2:38. Richard Thomas now crosses the line, the 14th out of 16 drivers that are still racing as we go on to the final lap. As the gap now, Nikita Genza has really opened up the taps on that. and has started getting away quite considerably. Gap was nearly a second, and in the process, Nikita Genza did a 1 minute 4.223. And that was over a tenth quicker than the driver in second position, Valentin Klus. As we've got yellow flags on the infield, which have now been retracted. But at the moment, the two leaders now coming into the last chicane on the circuit, and will now power out to the double right-hander. So this time the checkered flag now being prepared. Through the penultimate corner comes Nikita Genza. Round through the final turn comes the 226 from Germany. Powers across the line, quick glance over the right shoulder and wins, and one hand in the air to win by 0.813 of a second. And on the final lap of the race, Valentin Klus responded, but it wasn't enough. It was a 1 minute 4.020. Magnus Pedersen from Denmark rounds out the top three, ahead of Morris Schmeis in the 210. Jan Agassadi in fifth in the 262, with Nevio Fischer. Mikkel Pedersen making it all the way back up to seventh at the end of that race, having dropped to the back part of the field as there was a bit of a drag race just then, as between Janis Stiak in ninth, who was behind Raphael Henhofer, pipped Leon Arndt by just 44 thousandths of a second across the line, as Leon Arndt, I actually just noticed, was jumping up and down in the seat to try and keep going forward. Rafael Barza in 11th, ahead of Louis Jacobs and Din Jurek, who completed the 13 strong, with Richard Thomas in the 205 completing the 14 out of 16 drivers that finished, with Corbin Hillebrands and Farin Mega unfortunately retiring.